Hey guys, Jemmy here, and we are going to be looking at the Copperbell Mines of Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. You can access this Copperbell's mine via the Duty Finder or through the map. I think it's near Camp Horizon is where it is. So you could actually talk to the NPC there and gain access that way. It is 4-man content, meaning that there will be 2 DPS most of the time, healer, and a tank. The level range for this instance is 17 through 20, so you'll gain access at level 17 and be synced off at level 20. So the same rules apply as we discussed before. You want to be conscious of what level you are. Even though you are level 50 on the outside map or outside world, once you queue into this instance, any kind of skills that are over the level sync of 20, you will not be able to use. They will be grayed out. So what you'll have to do is that you'll have to probably make some adjustments and make sure that you have equipped the skills that you could use for this instance, or when you come inside while you're fighting, you'll just realize that you can't even use them. So in the first room, after you defeat that little cluster of mobs, they will drop a tiny key. You will need that key in order to gain access to the door to take you over to the lift. Make sure just everyone's riding and you interact with the lift and it will do its magic. And I'm just going to talk about some added information while this lift is going. Any of the loot that drops during this instance, I'll go ahead and take a screenshot of that and post it in my blog, where there's a convenient link in the description box below, just in case you wanted to check out what kind of loot drops in this instance. And so, if you wanted it for style or something like that, because later on they're gonna add vanity slots. So, something good to know. Also, I will try to get a picture of the map and put it on my blog as well, with icons of where all the coffers are located. So just keep on working your way down through the tunnels of the mine. Be wary of this part where there's actually a mob that actually pops out from the side. You see him coming out right there. He kind of looks like a huge goblin thing. Stone Hauler is the name. So he's really not that difficult. Of course, you want your tank to try to tank and hold aggro on both of the adds, while DPS at their most optimal position. So if you do your most damage from being behind the adds, then that's where you want to be. Also, something else to consider while you are within any kind of instance, if you're not capped off, is that you should be carrying with you some food that gives you added stats, as well as experience boost. So since you are leveling up a character, you want that extra 3% of experience for the duration of 30 minutes, which actually helps out. It's better than not having it. So to have some food on you is good. The 3% experience comes from any type of food, so whether it be stats that benefits you or not, if you get some from a quest, just keep them in your bag, and then while you're in an instance like this, you could go ahead and use some just to get rid of it, but at the same time it will benefit you because you're getting that 3% of extra XP. So that's good. So what I did here was that once you get that coffer right there, you could just turn around and head down towards the bridge, so the opposite way, and you will meet these 2 sprites. Once you defeat this spriggan, this group of spriggans right here, all the way in the back there's something glowing and it's called fire sands. You want to collect that before you head into the room to the left. And once you head into the next room, you will also see another fire stand at the top of a dirt mound. You could go ahead and collect that. And what the fire sands is essentially basically kind of like, you want to think of it as like gunpowder. So you use the blasting device once you set the fire stands and it will blow up the wall. And here you will enter your first boss room. There's really nothing overly special about this room for the boss fight. There's just mobs that will be coming out in waves that you will have to defeat, and at the end just the big boss will come out, and he's not difficult at all. They'll come out in waves, however they'll not be from like the same spot. They'll be coming out from different points in the room. So if you're the tank, you might want to try to collect them all in the middle, so that if you have, you know, a black mage or a thaumaturg who does AoE damage, then it's easier for them to try to hit all those mobs at the same time. And if you're a DPS, or if you're the healer who has aggro because you healed or because you just did enough damage to one of the ads, definitely try to be in the center where everyone else is, so again that AoE could hit all of them at one collected spot. Along with Spriggans, there'll also be a, I call them bombs. I know that the names change from time to time, but fire bombs is what I just call them. It's easier. But they start coming out as well. You just need to defeat them before they actually detonate themselves. And once again, you want to keep them in the middle and try to collect them as much as possible so that all those AoEs can hit. And at this point, if you are a bard, archer, thaumaturg, black mage, all of those are basically essentially the same thing, it's just class to job. If you are any of those AoE classes, don't be afraid to use your skills. That's what they're there for. Because if you're afraid to use your skills and try to sleep them or something like that, then it's going to take a lot longer. So after you defeat like enough waves, then this guy will come out, and like I said, he's not very difficult at all. Just know your optimal position of where you should be. Tank should be tanking in the front, and DPS should be in the back. Healer should be off in a distance, and you know, if you're a range DPS, then you should just be off at a distance as well. You could pick up the key and access through the door over there, and you'll enter this area. I just kind of skipped ahead for your sake and my sake. What you want to do here is that you'll have to defeat the fire bombs, and once you do that, this caption will come up on your screen. So you just collected a sand from them. You just need to interact with it on the floor there. There'll be one firebomb on the other side of the room as well with some additional ads, and then you'll return to this center area where you of course will load the fire sands and then detonate the wall. Then you'll proceed on to the second boss room. Just collect this fire sand because you'll need it within the boss fight. You could take this time to buff up if you need. If any kind of food has expired or something, then you can replenish that before you head into the second or activate the second boss. As far as mechanics, this guy has some tricky work to do. He has a lot of life, either if you want to say a lot of life or a lot of armor or defense, he just doesn't take any kind of damage at all. So what you'll have to do is in the center there is a same device that you've been seeing through the mines. What it will do is that it will call a, right here we call them blasting cap apparently. You don't want to defeat the blasting cap. You want to let it detonate. So when you see that AoE ring, move away from it as far as possible, but so that the boss is within that range. Once the boss gets hit by it, it will divide, I guess. Now there will be two, which is a little bit more susceptible to the damage. However, it's still not enough to try to DPS them down. So what you want to do is rinse and repeat. Once the blasting device has reset, you want to interact with it again to summon another blasting cap and have the boss within the middle. Tanks, what you want to do is try to, or anyone who has the aggro, try to make small circles so that the boss is essentially just turning around but not really moving. At this time, you want the blasting cap to detonate with the boss in its AoE range, which will divide it even further. Now they'll take a little bit more damage, but you essentially want to do it one more additional time. Now what will happen is that whenever you activate the blasting device, the blasting cap mob will come out. However, there'll be a Spriggan that comes out more towards the wooded area, and he's gonna try to kill the blasting cap so that, you know, it doesn't detonate. What you want to do is have someone over there to defeat it who doesn't have aggro, obviously. You don't want the person who has aggro going over there, because then it'll just make it worse. This is the last time that you will need the blasting device. At this time, you could just AoE down the boss or single target, depending on what kind of player you are. And then you're pretty much done to move on. There'll be 2 covers that drop for you to gain loot. Then just pick up the fire sand and set it and use the blasting device to move forward. Now in this room there are some mobs that you could just simply avoid. You could take care of these group of mobs and then head straight to the left. Don't take the water route in the middle right there or in front. Just hug the wall and go left. That way you could avoid the middle mobs within the water. Head straight down and then you'll see another coffer with some additional ads, of course. Just defeat the ads and collect the coffer. Head up the ramp here and just defeat that hippo surf that's linked to the other hippo surf over to the left. You don't want to head right, head left. At this time, just like it did in the beginning, another stone hauler will pop out. Nothing to worry about, you'll just have an extra ad. Of course, you want the tank to tank or gain aggro, and DPS to DPS them down. Oh, actually here it's called Stonebreaker. They look the same, but the names are different. Once you head down the ramp, you will see the purple line that lets you know you're at the last boss. Yay! Alright, now what you want to do here is the tank will tank the boss. And in the beginning, you want to try to DPS down the boss as much as possible. because in a little bit he's actually going to head to one of the walls and break them down. So before that, while he is just in the middle, you want to try to DPS him down as much as you can, because later on you'll have to split your DPS to the other ads. So now he's running towards the wall, or it says boulder, and it actually has a life bar. And since the wall is broken now, what's going to happen is that ads are going to be coming out from that wall and heading to the other side to basically break that wall. Now only the ads will head to the other side and try to attack that secondary wall there. So what you want to do is that the DPS wants to kill off the servants as fast as possible and then return to the boss to put in some additional damage before the next servant comes out. Here you could do it a little bit differently. It's really up to the strength of your group. Either you could leave one DPS on the boss and have just one DPS taking care of the ads. It might take a little bit longer, and you never know, the boulder just might die. But if it bought you enough time for the other DPS on the boss to burn him down a lot faster, then that might help you out. Essentially though, in the beginning, I probably just on the safer side, just have both DPS DPSing down the servants. Oh, and also for this room, you definitely want to save your limit breaker. And wait for that to come up. And if you have a single target limit breaking class, then you want to allow them to limit break the boss. So from there, the mechanics is pretty rinse and repeat. If the servants break the secondary wall, then at that point what will happen is that servants or ads will be pouring out from that wall there. At that point they will no longer be heading to different walls. They're just going to collect in the middle and start attacking the group. So that's essentially what you don't want to happen, because then you'll have to take care of a lot of additional ads that you didn't really need to worry about before. Our secondary wall just went down, but that's okay because the boss is about to die anyways. He has just a tad bit of life. So what you want to do is that if you kind of have any kind of limit breaker, depends on who your DPS is, just use a limit breaker at that time and just finish it off. And then you are done. Pat yourself on the back. You'll be awarded with experience points, of course, and also another coffer. Thanks guys for watching. I hope this helps you guys out when you are in the Copperbell mines for the first time, so that you know you have a heads up on knowing what to watch out for. Again, of course, I'm just a reminder that all of the screenshots of the loot will be in my blog, and the link is going to be in the description box below. If you haven't seen all the other dungeon videos yet, you could click on the middle. That will take you to another video. And so that you never miss a video update from our channel, go ahead and subscribe. You can find me on other forms of social media such as Twitter, Facebook, and more, with all the convenient links again in the description box below. Thanks guys for watching again, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye bye!